What is up, everyone? I wanted to show you what has arrived in the studio and the plans that I have for the custom water loop PC that I've been hinting at in a few videos and also talking extensively about on Twitter. I'm just super giddy about it because it will be my first custom loop ever, and I'll pretty much be building the whole thing myself. I have a few mentors who I will mention periodically in the official build log videos. But without them, there's no way I could do this. I probably wouldn't even know what to buy in terms of parts. There are so many things to go through, the different fittings, just the tube size decision, things like that. You would think would just kind of be, you know, pretty self-explanatory and simple to do. There's a lot of thought that goes into just one custom loop build, and there are people on YouTube who do these like, you know, like nothing, like normal PC builds. So I am definitely a noob. I don't make any secret of that. I'm sure I'll do a few things wrong, and you guys will yell at me extensively in the comments for that. But that's okay. This is a learning experience for me, and if you guys haven't done this either, then you can kind of learn and I guess experience it as we go. So the first things I want to talk about are the two GTX 1080s I have here. I purchased these out of my own pocket, mainly because I don't have any contacts with EVGA at this point, and also because the previous plan was to use the two 1070s in Heisenberg, and these PCBs are pretty much the same. There are a few differences on board, especially between this and something like the For the Win edition, but the water blocks are compatible universally with all these ACX cards, and so that's good. But it did mean that I had to stick with EVGA, which I don't have a problem with. They're great cards, they're very quiet, and temperatures are great. So I have no problem doing that, but I did have to shell out $1,200. So that's what you're looking at here. Two boxes that are worth 600 bucks each. Granted, you're gonna get some of the best performance possible. I think the only thing you could do better maybe is you know, upgrade to Titans, but at that point you're just spending money just to spend money. Would you have a look at her? You know, this is the first GTX 1080 I have ever owned. I just realized that. Well, I own two of them, but I've only ever owned 1070s because a single 1070 is more than enough for 1080p ultra-wide gaming, which is, this is my monitor of choice right here. Very budget-friendly ultra-wide monitor, 29-inch. You can check out the review right here if you're interested. And then I had the Pixio 1440p 144 Hertz monitor and the second 1070, and that maxed that one out. I didn't want to just sell the 1070 by a single 1080, and I think two cards looks way better. Two cards look way better in there than a single 1080 would. So we have two of these again for the custom water loop build. Keep in mind the water blocks will require the removal of the entire ACX 3.0 cooler system as well as the back plate. So Alphacool is our water cooling sponsor for this entire thing, and you'll see all of those parts hopefully by the end of this week, because that's when I want to get started. It's going to take a while to do all of this, and being that it's my first time, I expect I'll be screwing up quite often. Now, if you're wondering where all of these components are going, so I'm going to take the core of Heisenberg and then these two GTX 1080s, and I'm going to throw these into, spin around this way, that right there. That says 011, and that's because it's the PC 011 from Lian Li. This is a case of cases. Now, you've probably heard of the PC09. That's kind of like this thing's older brother. This is a bit more refined. It's slightly different on the inside, as you'll see here shortly, but it still leaves plenty of room for a custom loop. As you can see, I mean, the motherboard is going to take up probably half of the space inside, and everything else is kind of just left bare. You want to throw some huge radiators in here, you are more than capable of doing that in a case this size. And additionally, if you can't already tell, tempered glass around the front and left side, which is also super cool. Lian Li is kind of like the tempered glass champion at this point. So you have plenty of room inside the PC011. Just for, you know, kind of a point of reference here, that's one GTX 1080. The second one will be about here. And we'll still have plenty of space down below for a 360mm radiator. I think I just went for the 60mm thick radiator. I want to say maybe a 40mm. I don't remember what I got. And then there'll be 3 fans exhausting down, and there's space below the case for that hot air to escape. And I'll also have another 360mm up top. Same configuration, just exhausting upward. And then the reservoir will fit here along with the pump underneath. I actually drew this out, so this is kind of cheesy. You know, I don't see many people doing this. I'm just doing this because this is my first time. And I'm very nervous about the layout. Now, this is probably, you know, kind of having you on edge right here, what I did here. So this isn't in parallel, and I bet that bend's gonna really suck. So we'll see. I'll probably use some maybe 90-degree fittings to work that out. Worst case, you know, we can always change that up. And I ordered plenty of tubing, by the way, so we can afford to screw up more than once and still be comfortable. So the plan is from the reservoir down to the radiator here on this side, and then the opposite side of that, coming up to the first graphics card, and then to the second graphics card from there, to the CPU, and then from the CPU to the top radiator, from there all the way back down to the reservoir. Now, a few of you were voicing your concerns about the configuration, the layout, how I have it set up here to where the first graphics card will supposedly receive the coolest air, and then the second card gets, or not the coolest air, but the coolest water, liquid, you know what I mean. And then the second card, then by the time it all gets to the CPU, the liquid's going to be pretty hot, right? Because these two graphics cards are going to be fairly overclocked and, yeah, just, you know, putting out a lot of heat. Well, the thing is, and this has been tested extensively, not by me, but by others who I trust and rely on 100%. The order here isn't going to make a huge difference, and it's not like I have to have, you know, the loop running to the first card and then having a radiator right after that, because that water's already going to be pretty hot. That's not really how it works. It's just like picture it like one big system. So the water as a whole, as long as you have enough radiator support, will remain relatively cool, even with all of these overclocked, which they will be. I'm going to try to get around 4.8, 4.9 gigahertz with the 5820K. I'm already getting 4.7 in Heisenberg, and that's with a Kraken X62. So I think I can get a bit more with the custom loop, and then these cards here, I'll shoot for, I'd say at least over 20, maybe 2100 megahertz. I have no idea. It's just going to depend on the cards and how far I'm willing to push these voltage-wise. But yeah, that's the layout. Of course, this is subject to change, and I'm sure that will change once I do start bending these tubes and realizing how hard it actually is. But I think the case is beautiful. I'm very thankful for Lee and Lee for sending this over. And I think that the 1080s will be a nice upgrade. Sorry, I wasn't pointing the camera in the right direction. 1080s will be a nice upgrade, and I'm very comfortable with the 5820K. Being that it only has 28 PCIe lanes, that's going to be a bit of a concern. That means that both of these cards are going to be running it at times 8 instead of full 16 lanes. They'll be running it with 8 lanes, which I haven't done testing on personally, but I do believe that will slightly bottleneck the 1080s. So the 1080s tend to use a bit more bandwidth than the typical card. That would kind of make sense, right? The 1070s are fine that way, but the 1080s, I think it'll be pushing it. So maybe an upgrade to a 6850K at some point. I'm not sure, but that will be discussed later on once I do run my tests. But that's it. I do hope that you are 100% willing to leave comment suggestions, tips, tricks, anything that you may have personally experienced or seen on other YouTube channels that you trust, that you think will help me with this building process. It's gonna be tough, and I don't expect it to work out completely on the first try. If it does, yeah, but I'm me, you know, and I can't plug power supply cables into their correct power supplies. So there's that. By the way, here shortly I'll be uploading a review of a pair of wireless Bluetooth in-ear headphones I received from a company called Syllabus. I think that's the name of the company. If that's not the name of the company, I'm gonna sound really stupid. But yeah, I'll give you like a first impressions raw unboxing, if you will. I'll put them in my ears and I'll tell you how good I think they sound, especially for the price. And you can we'll go from there, I guess. This is Salazar Studio. Thanks for listening. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for learning with us.